So I watch a lot of EDC videos. I'm always curious as to what people carry on them at any given moment. I think you can tell a lot about somebody by that. But one thing I've never noticed on YouTube is you don't see a ton of EDC videos that talk about combinations. And when I say that, I specifically mean gun and knife combinations. As a person who carries both a gun and knife fairly regularly, I generally put together little combos based on what I'm doing that day, based on what kind of clothing I'm wearing, what the weather's like, if I'm going to be in the woods, if I'm going to go to a wedding, if I'll be at church. I have different tools for every specific thing I could be doing. I never really see people talk about that on YouTube. So I just think it's really interesting. So today I kind of thought I'd talk about one of my favorite combinations, and this is the pistol and knife combination I take when I'm in the woods. Depending on what you're doing in the woods, how far you're going back, and what you expect to encounter, your tools could be different than mine. For me, I tend towards a little bit stouter sidearm in general. I prefer a sidearm that has a little bit of heft, and I generally prefer larger knives. So, without further ado, let's talk about the knife and gun that I carry when I'm hiking. Also, a quick caveat to that, if I'm going anywhere more than a couple miles, and especially if I'm going somewhere I'm not familiar with, I will typically take a rifle. What we're going to talk about today, though, is just for like mild hikes, 4 or 5 miles, places I've been before where I'm pretty aware of the different animals and what I could run into. So this is just bare minimum. So here they are. So this is a combo that I normally carry out in the woods, and we'll go through both of them. What I have here is a Ruger New Vaquero and a Becker BK7. In terms of the knife I carry in the woods, this is an obvious choice. This is a Becker BK7 by K-Bar. They come out of Olean, New York. The Becker line, in my opinion, are some of the best bushcraft knives. Excuse me, they're some of the best bushcraft knives you can buy. This one, again, I've had this, gosh, 2015, 16 maybe. I have put this knife through the paces. It's indestructible. You can tell the sheath on here is aftermarket. I had a guy make this for me. The sheath that comes with these I don't love, so I prefer a leather sheath. And I've had this one for, gosh, 8 years now, and it has never failed me. You can see I've modded this. This is just cut up inner tube. I keep a ferro rod in there on the back, the striker. You can kind of see it in there. Let's look at the knife itself. So again, this knife is not pristine. This is a knife that I use a lot in the woods. You can see there's, a lot of the finishes rubbed off. I have wood on there now from the last time I was batoning it. The mods I've done on this knife, I went ahead and really ground out this top so I could use it to strike ferro rods, which I've done millions of times. It's like the finish up here kind of prohibits it from striking and creating a spark. So I went ahead and I took a Dremel to it or something and took that off. I've also wrapped this with paracord. It's a very simple wrap, just to have some on deck just in case. BK7 as a utilitarian knife, I don't really think you can be beat. This is kind of one of those knives that's not perfect at anything, but it's really good at everything. It's got a 7-inch blade, has an unsharpened swedge here, has a nice kind of thumb ramp here. I don't love it, but it's fine. If you've got to kind of push down a little bit with that. Has a little hammer on the back here. But in general, I've used every part of this knife pretty extensively, and it's invulnerable. And I've had this knife since I think 2014, 2015, and I use it a ton. And then I sharpen it whenever I need to get it sharp again. And just, oh my gosh, I use this to baton a bunch of firewood with me and my wife the other night. And I haven't sharpened it or anything, but let's see if we can. I mean, it's a great knife. Again, I don't even really remember what the steel is on it. I just know that ever since I've had it, I've never needed a different knife. If I had to pick one knife in the world, this is the one I'd take with me for whatever I need to do, to fight with, to baton with if I don't have an axe. Um, yeah, in my opinion, it's the best knife you can buy, certainly for the money. When I got this, I think it was $70. So I have had this new Vaquero for about, gosh, I've had it probably since 2011 or so. So mine is blued. It has got a 4 1/4 inch barrel. You really can't ask for more than Ruger offers in its pistols. They're very overbuilt. Steel frame, single action, which I prefer. A lot of people talk about single action as if it's completely useless in a gunfight. I've trained with this gun for 10 years. I've fired it thousands of times, probably. I can draw from this particular holster and be on target at 5 yards in sub 2 seconds. If I'm carrying this weapon in a place where I feel the biggest threat will be other people, in other words, not animals, I generally carry this weapon loaded with Winchester hollow points. This is, I believe, probably 158 grain. Were I to go out in the woods, generally I switch it out, and I want to say these are buffalo bore, 200 grain, hard cast bullets. These are a lot better for shooting animals because they don't deform, and so for a large animal with a lot of musculature, heavy bone, it'll crack right through. At least that's the hope. This is a gun that I always take with me in the woods, and it's never let me down so far. Let's take a quick closer look at this weapon. I don't know if this will show up well, but you can tell that this gun is a gun that I use a lot. It has a very kind of worn finish. You can see that there's a lot of scratches, a lot of dents, a lot of bald spots here on the finish. And honestly, I kind of like that. This is a gun that's been used. It's a gun that I've had now for, again, like I said, 11 or 12 years, and you can tell. It's definitely, we got a scratch there. Who knows when I did that? This has stood the test of time, and it's been one of my favorite weapons. So there it is, guys. This is my moderate woods carry. I never feel undergunned or underknifed, if you will, when I have both of these on me. I feel like in any situation that I would need either knife or gun, both of these would suffice. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you guys carry.